I've taken a lot of hard hits in my life, but this one might be the hardest. You push to get back up, and you can't. In that moment, the only thing I could think of doing was just to call out to God.
I was 18 years old when I had Hunter. We moved to Wishick in the summer of 2007. We bought a hayfield, basically, on the edge of town.
He was always super interested in doing anything with sports. And the thing I really remember about him is he's the kid out in the driveway or at the park, with the basketball in his hand.
I don't know how many game-winning shots I missed by myself, alone, in our shop. I remember early on, I always wanted to be taking that shot, being the guy that hit the shot, and I loved the pressure that sports brought. But I think that prepared me for later on to make a few of them and how to deal with missing them, because I think you can probably take more from missing than even making.
Hunter met Zach Kvalovog in kindergarten at Park Christian, and Zach and Hunter started playing basketball together then, and they were just best buds and just very close through elementary school. When we moved to Wishick, Zach wrote Hunter a handwritten letter and asked him to be on his travel basketball team.
We started playing travel ball together in 5th grade, and we never stopped. He was the point guard, I was the post. I always say, we were a Stockton and Malone. We were a Kobe Shaq, whatever you want to call it. The 1-2 punch, that was Zach and I. Summer going into my senior year, everything changed. It was a beautiful summer day. And I was driving home, and I looked on Twitter, and a friend of mine had tweeted out something like, R.I.P. Zach, you'll be missed. Zach. It's got to be a joke. And so I, replied to his tweet, and, what's this about? LOL. He's like, call me. So I called him, and he goes, yeah, Zach's gone. Everything after that's just kind of a blur.
That accident in June near Fergus Falls took the lives of Connor and Zach Kvalovog.
It's just crazy how a moment in time affects everything, So when Zach died and I just needed an escape from basketball, it was Coach Schwager calling from the football program. They offered me a scholarship.
Well, I met Hunter years ago when he was a young boy here in Grand Forks. Hunter's always seemed like he was mature beyond his years. So many of his traits are what you look for in building a championship football program. He's a great teammate. He cares for other people. He's selfless, puts other people's needs before his own. He had some skills, a big, long, rangy guy that had good hands, that could move his feet.
UND added 22 players for the class of 2016, led by South Border's Hunter Pinke.
UND was my dream school. My grandpa played there, my mom was on the track and field team there, and so when I thought of myself playing somewhere, I thought of myself playing at UND. For me, that was my escape from basketball. That was me saying, the sport's been good to me, but I'm ready to put it away and start something new, and took up football. First camp, there was many days where I wanted to quit. There was 2-a-days, it was hot. Coach Schweger instills in our team, still to this day, that mantra of day by day, just do what you have to do today, take care of it, do the best you can, and then let tomorrow worry about itself. Day by day was critical in getting through that first camp, but also going forward in life, that kind of became a big time theme.
I knew Hunter a little bit just through newspapers, the TV, hearing about his name through basketball and football. Heard there was a stud down in Wishick, didn't really know who he was. I always remember Hunter running routes, and he always had that look on his face like he was just gonna run through you.
Well, the 2019 playoffs were an odd thing because we really thought that UND was going to host.
So we go down to Nichols. It is unlike any other place I've ever been. That day didn't go as we planned, didn't play very well. As I'm heading to the locker room, these Nichols coaches come up. I believe there was 3 of them. They all said, hey, 3-6, hey, you had a great career. Nothing to hang your head about. You guys played a really good game. And in my mind, I was thinking, this isn't the end of my career. Like, I got 1 more year, and next year I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna whoop you guys. And I couldn't really tell you why. It was just, I just kind of had a feeling like, this might be it.
We had just gotten done with the season at Nichols State. They had lost, and Hunter thought, like, it's Noah's graduation gift to go skiing, so he's my roommate, I should go. Hunter called me the morning of the 27th. He was with the guys and everything was gonna be fun, and I gave him a quick safety lecture, and he rolled his eyes and laughed and said he'd call me at the end of the day.
We woke up at, I think, 7:30. There was a lot of snow, the conditions were perfect. We were really gearing up for a really fun couple of days.
We began on this first run called Mozart. And right away, 10 seconds into it, I kind of had my mojo back. In and out of cuts, had my feet underneath me, and I was feeling pretty good. I see this little chute through the trees. Immediately what pops in my head is, I gotta take that chute.
We all kind of just went to the bottom, and we stopped and hung out, and we're waiting for everybody to get there, and everybody showed up, and then we gave it about 5 to 10 minutes, and we're looking around, looking for this tall guy in a red plaid sweatshirt, which he was wearing, and couldn't find him. We were looking at our phones, trying to find his iPhone. Nothing was biting, so we went back up the lift.
So I get into this chute, and what I don't realize is there's a little drop off that kind of propels me into this chute through the trees. So I get going at a pretty good clip through the trees. At the end of this chute that takes me out of the trees is this small little jump. See this jump out ahead of me, and I think, okay, I'm just gonna get a little bit of air, but I'm going pretty fast. I hit this little air, and out of the corner of my eye, that's when I saw the skier. As I land, all that's running through my head is turn, turn, turn. Couldn't turn soon enough. He was turning right into me. I was a 6'6", 255-pound guy going at a high speed that couldn't stop soon enough. We ended up colliding, and that threw me off my balance. Then led me to being thrown into a tree head first at high speeds.
I saw all the paramedics and the ski patrol with their red jackets in the trees. At that moment, I just, for some reason, I kind of knew it was Hunter. And I saw them all huddling around, and I came up and I went by slowly and I peeked in there. And I'll never forget it, all I saw was that red plaid jacket stuck out.
After that fall, my initial thought was, I've taken a lot of hard hits in my life, but this one might might be the hardest. But then the thought is, get back up, just like I have hundreds of times on the football field, just like I have multiple times on the mountain. Just get back up. And you push to get back up, and you can't. My next thought was, there's got to be a tree on my legs, or something's holding me down. It's pinning me to the ground. And when you look back and you see there's no tree pinning you down, there's nothing on your legs, that's when it hits you like, okay, something's really wrong. And that's when the first thought of, I might be paralyzed, comes into the head. And that's a terrifying feeling. I remember the skier that I collided with came over. I remember saying to him, "Do you believe in a God?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "I think we should pray." Because in that moment, the only thing I could think of doing was just to call out to God. And so we did. We prayed on the mountain together. And I can honestly say, from that moment on, I have not felt one day of fear or anxiety about my future.
I looked down at my Apple Watch, and Noah's dad, Tracy Wanzik, who's our good friend, is calling me. His voice was a little shaky, and he was just letting me know that there had been an accident on their first run and that Hunter had been injured.
We called Key Patrol on speakerphone together, and they had just kind of put him in the helicopter.
If I could have died in that moment and Hunter just could have gotten up and walked away, like, I would have. As a mom, you just think of all the things, like, it's the most helpless feeling in the world. And we're 1,000 miles away.
We walked up to him, and his mouth reacted. He smiled. The surgeon that did his procedure was at the computer, kind of off to our side. He asked us to come, with him in a room, and that's where the news was the hardest.
Our son had a severed spinal cord. He had a crushed back.
He delivered the worst possible news that we had gotten in our lives about our child at that moment.
Somebody was holding onto my hand, and they were both crying. I remember my mom saying, "Hunter, you still have a future, it's just not the future that you had planned." And that line has stuck out for me a lot, because my life doesn't look at all what it was supposed to look like, but I still have a life. And if you're still breathing, that means you got a future.
So his initial questions, he showed some emotion and was, could he still have children? Was he ever gonna walk again?
I'm never gonna step foot on a football field. I'm never gonna catch another touchdown. But there was also the fear of things that I didn't know. I was wondering, would anybody ever love me in a chair? After my surgery, things just kind of started to hit you like, okay, this is where we're at. And just moments of thinking of like, why me? Why'd this happen to me? Moments after, this thought of why not me came into my head. I'm paralyzed. Nothing I can do about it now. Why not me? Why can't I be the guy in the chair that goes and changes the world? Why can't I be the guy in the chair that has a family? When I switched my mindset from why me to why not me, I think that probably changed the course of my life. There was no more feeling sorry for myself. It was just, all right, enough with this pity party. Let's go get after it.
Come on.
We met a physician from Craig, visited with Hunter and Katie and I. And we asked him a few questions, and he, I would say, really changed things for me personally, where he gave us hope. He just kind of went through a list of things that we hadn't really thought of yet in terms of what life can look like, how normal it could be.
I'm laying in bed one morning and my nurse comes in. We got talking about our faith a little bit, and she said, you know, Hunter, I was actually in a coma for a little over a month, and I came out on the other side. She goes, you know, Hunter, ever since that day, I no longer look at life like it's a glass half full or a glass half empty. I'm just glad that I have a glass. And I sat there, thought about that, and I can honestly say that morning changed my life. Sometimes in life, I feel like we feel empty. We feel like we got nothing in our glass. But when we can take a step back and realize, I still have a glass, I'm still breathing. Eventually, drip by drip, that glass can be filled again. Feels like I'm lifting again. Feels good.
Throw some 45s on now.
Yeah, let's go. All right.
To walk into that room the first time, I didn't know how I was going to react. But you walk in there, and he wouldn't allow any pity. It was like, hey, coach, how you doing? As the days went on, it was just so inspirational to see Hunter's response.
If I wasn't grateful before, I'm really grateful now. You know, no, I'm not 6'6", but I'm also not 6 foot under. I'm just glad to be living. I can do everything I used to be able to do. I just have to do it in a little different way.
He had a lot to adjust to, and he just kind of got used to his routine of getting dressed in the morning and all of that. It wasn't that long where we were thinking, all right, now he's going to go back to Grand Forks and move into the apartment or condo that he's in.
When we moved in, it was just a feeling in the area of, let's enjoy this. You know, this is probably our last semester of college together. When we came to UND as freshmen, the motto that they instilled in us was day by day. And so we've had that day by day mentality since we were 18. I definitely see him with that mentality every day. In his situation, he's gonna have obstacles, different obstacles each day. If he lets one stack up on another, he's gonna go down a bad path and he's gonna just have bad days and bad days. But that's not his mentality. His mentality is to move on from a bad day and then stack good days on top of each other.
I've really come up with 3 truths that I fall back on. I'm breathing, I still have a choice, and I'm loved. That's what I fall back on a daily that gets me through all those tough days and inspires me to keep going.
Hunter was able to get a vehicle adapted for him, and then that really changed independence for him because now he has his own vehicle that he's able to get in and out of on his own.
After he had transitioned into a condo in Grand Forks, was back in class, had a vehicle, was traveling on his own, in and out of his chair, in and out of his vehicle. It was kind of the first time, I think, that I finally had a little bit of a more letdown, and I felt more emotion, almost like 9 to 10 months after the accident. I finally felt like he was gonna be okay.
rolling out into the field for that first game was a little bittersweet because I'd worked so hard for that opportunity to play this year.
Really disappointed and crushed that that he's unable to play this year. And I know he gives me strength to know that he's going to be okay and move on. But it's hard.
You know what I miss most about the game is not blocking, catching a ball, scoring a touchdown. What I miss most about the game is the huddle and standing next to the guys that you've put so much work into. I mean, those are the guys that you sweat with, that you bleed with, you cry with. And that huddle is a special place because it's where everything comes together. 11 guys come together for one purpose. That's what I miss most about the game. Eventually I was gonna hang up the pads anyway. But those guys, those relationships, those are the things that are gonna last. I'll gladly watch a game from the sidelines than not watch the game at all. I'll put on my headset and be completely all right with supporting them from the sideline because sometimes you learn more from the sidelines than you do on the field.
He's a captain, and he's leading us, just like I thought he would someday, and how he did in his younger years in our program. To be a leader, and he's selfless. I can't say it any other way, and he inspires me, he inspires our team, he inspires people back in his hometown. He's inspired so many across the state of North Dakota that know of his story.
And I don't think we have any idea of what the plan is ahead, but we know that we can trust and we can follow and that something larger is going to unfold.
He has a future, it's a different future, and we're excited to be part of it.
I live today sitting in a wheelchair, more confident in my future than I ever was standing up. I can promise I'm gonna keep working to not only make my life a great life, but to help others make theirs a good one too. Someday I'm gonna look back at my life and say I was in the right place at the right time. I really think that I was built for this. You know, with Zach dying, other personal things that had happened in my life, I was prepared for this to happen. There's a lot of opportunities in store. We'll see where they go. One thing I know for sure is I'm gonna keep striving for what I've always strived for, and that's to make the world a better place.